Right now, there's somebody making a decision that's going to change their life. The question is, did their morning prepare them for it? Let's find out. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Flynn. Hey, quick reality check. Yeah, in the next hour, you're going to make roughly 35 decisions that are going to impact your future. Little ones, big ones, life-changing ones. I'm Keith Bilous, and this isn't just another morning show. Nope, you stumbled upon the biggest morning show on the planet for men. And listen, just a quick reminder, we keep it raw and real here in the lab. If you got kids around, now's the time to put those headphones on or politely walk them out of the room. And hey, look at that biggest decision we've got coming up for you today. The one that matters, the one that you can't get wrong. Now ask yourself, Business Athlete Nation, did your morning prepare you for it, or did you step around and hit the snooze button? Because that's what we are solving today. In the lab, we got Jon Andersen, CMartyFit, two guys who turn split-second decisions, into championship moments. And of course, producer Kristina's calling the shots. Well, Jimmy makes sure the ship keeps sailing and moving forward. And of course, Felix is over here as well, helping cut the show up. Today's different because we got Evan Marks with us. And here's what fascinates me about Evan. He took one simple decision. He starts his clients with a cold shower. We know how Marty feels about the cold shower and turned it into a framework that's transformed billion-dollar portfolio managers. Now, listen, it sounds crazy, right? But until you understand the neuroscience behind it, it makes a lot of sense. Today, Evan's breaking down exactly how your morning routine is either upgrading or corrupting your decision-making software in your brain. Yes, Jory Jansen's here today. We're talking ketosis. We moved last week through intermittent fasting. We're going to talk some ketosis today for all you guys looking to shed some body fat, build some muscle, and are challenged with this whole idea of eating what to eat, what not to eat, and so forth, so forth. And of course, two major announcements. The League of Business Athletes applications just went live last week. Guys, 100 days, 100 hours, 10 spots, one decision that changes everything. Here's the reality. You join us, you join myself and Jon and Marty and Kristina and Jory and Adam and AJ, your life is going to change. There's no choice. We're going to put you through a 100-day program stretched over 365 days. Your life will change. How do I know? I went through it. True story. So the League of Business Athletes is out there. And of course, we are still going through no month. Yeah, see, the league was born out of my desire to say yes to something I needed to accomplish. Going through divorce, going through a tough point in my life. And what did I do? I needed to sit down and focus. I created a 100-day program with my friend AJ Zeglin, named it through the Business Athlete. I had to say no to a bunch of things in order to say yes. So listen, it's time to engage. Hit subscribe, drop a comment about the toughest decision you've made in your life and you're facing today. And let's engineer a morning that prepares you for it. But hey, let's move the attention over here to bring the crew up on stage and ask and see what everybody's wearing today. It looks like Johnny is sitting somewhere in, somewhere in California. Who's wearing black? He's got the red painter cap on. Marty's got a nice light blue shirt on with the red headset. Kristina's obviously in black on black on black. And of course, I'm in black on black with a nice hat, sunglasses on today. How's it going this morning, Nation?
Hold on. Man. What's up with the painter's cap, for the love of Christ?
That's what it is, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
I got Marty, help me, Marty. Marty, is that a painter's cap? You got to throw me under the bus, too?
No, it is. He's worn it before, so I didn't really think much of it. Yeah, so
I didn't know it was a painter's cap. I thought it was.
He's talking about my cap. He's talking about my cap, not his own cap.
No, your hat. You got a painter's cap, man. That's what I call them. I think they're great. So Jack Dugan.
That's called a beret. Let's get that straight up.
Oh, turn to the side, Keith.
Is it though?
No, they're talking about my hat, Marty, not his.
No, I'm calling. I do. So, Marty, Johnny, I do agree with you. I will interchange it in my head. Oh, fuck Andersen, man. Oh, pardon, yes, Nation. It is a swearing show. Andersen. Okay, painter's cap, beret. It's one and the same, man. And Jack Dugan's in the comments going, Jack, is it a painter's cap or is it a beret? I don't know, man. I'm calling it how about a painter's beret, Anderson?
I thought it was a paper hat. Like, get your papers.
Paper hat too. Jesus.
Yeah,
Marty,
I've never heard of beret.
Jesus, I love it.
Like a golf hat.
Good morning, Caleb. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Megan. Good morning, everybody in the comments. I see you guys all there today, and of course, we got Evan Marks joining us here in a moment. So beret, paper hat, and we got Jack. Yeah. Oh, Dugan is just saying, Johnny, lose the hat. No, Jack, you don't want to have Johnny lose the hat. You have to throw some sunglasses on because
look at that.
The skull might just
that's a dome right there. That's a fucking massive cranium.
Well, I thought you're supposed to own it. You're supposed to own it.
I own that motherfucker. I own it to the point where I can't even get a fucking pro cap to fit. That motherfucker won't fit. I gotta wear. The little things in the back where you click them together. Yes. I'm that poor bastard that clicks the last one and it never stays straight. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy shit. That's right.
Listen, let's just
see that real fat old man, and you're like, Jesus, guy barely gets around the fat fucker's head. Well, that's me.
I mean, you got a lot on your mind.
Oh, that's it.
Big brain.
Yeah.
Man, we also have Ron Retz here in the comments. I see you, Ronnie, on the horizontal stream. Check it out, the new camera angle today. I'm a little organized today. I organized the lab this weekend. I got this computer here lifted up. I got this camera organized here, and now I can.
It's like you're reporting live from like a red carpet right now.
Yeah, it's all with the camera lights behind me and everything. So we got Ron Retz here in the comments. We got Good Time here. Good morning, Good Time. Good to see you here as well, my friend. Good to have you there. But hey, listen, here's the decision that's going to mess with your mind. I got something for you guys. I want you to take two identical people. Same skills, same potential, same opportunity. John, Marty, put them in the same high pressure moment. Now, one makes the call that changes everything. And then Flynn, one hesitates, loses it all. Just loses it all. What's the difference? It's not the talent. It's not the luck. It's not even the event preparation. No, it's what happened in their first 30 minutes that they woke up. Yeah. Because that first decision of the day, that glass of water you hydrate with, no, it's not about coffee or medication or cold showers or meditation. Never mind medication. It's about who you become in the moments that matter. It's when your eyes wake up and you make the decision. You look at your wrist, you look at the corner, and go, oh, do I got to get up or I got to hit the snooze button? Oh, I know. You got to get up. Johnny, break it down. What's the first morning decision that tells you someone's ready to level up? Jon Andersen.
Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to eliminate the thought of the snooze button. When the thought is not there, we're moving in the right direction. I mean, we got to stop it. Don't even entertain that shit anymore, right? So when you wake up, it's not a thought; it's action. You've already pre-planned this.
Yes.
Don't let the brain get in the way. You know the first 4 easy wins. The alarm goes off, feet hit the ground. Wherever that goddamn phone is, push the button, turn it off. The water should be right there. Boom, there's your water, right? Start moving towards the kitchen, hit your coffee button, whatever you got to do. But this is all pre-planned.
Yeah.
No thinking about anything. It's all predetermined.
Yes. Marty, right now, quick one. Somebody's rolling over thinking what they're going to do right now. Give them something to hang on to get their day started, brother.
What do you need to do to get those negative thoughts out of your mind?
Oh yeah,
we can't wake up positive. It's impossible. No human wakes up positive. We all wake up groggy, cranky, whatever you want to call it. Some people angry, maybe snappy, irritable. What do you need to do to get on the other side of that? So it might be a podcast. It might be push-ups. It might be turn the light on. It might be put the scripture on or whatever. I don't know. Whatever you need to do, figure it out.
Yes. There's advice.
Even a second alarm. Like I'll use that. I'll have an alarm wake me up. 1 minute later, that second alarm goes off. Says, "Hey, get your mind out of the gutter, dipshit. You're going down the wrong rabbit hole."
That's one more, Keith.
Yes, get it, brother.
I do the second alarm, but my second alarm says, "Get your fat ass up," or "Get your broke ass up," or "Get your whatever. Get your weak ass up." That works for me. I don't know. It might not work for some of y'all. You might not talk to yourself like that, but whatever message works for you, I do that.
And coming soon in the Business Athlete Performance Lab store, custom buttons and sounds with Jon Andersen's voice. Get your ass out of bed right now, motherfucker. Coming soon from Andersen. Hey, as we continue moving on the show here, we're going to bring in Evan Marks here in a few moments after the accountability check-in. Flynn, I had a conversation this weekend with a friend, and we were talking about language. We were talking about the power of language. And what struck me was a conversation, a moment just down the road from you, between DeMar DeRozan and Drake. The conversation where they might have dropped the P word. You know the word, the pussy. And I was talking to my friend this weekend, and she's like, man, I just don't like the word. It's an offensive word. And I was like, but why is it an offensive word? Like some people like to eat pussy. She's like, yeah, but that's not the context we're talking about. We're talking about it in a bad way, like calling somebody a pussy. And then it struck me, Flynn, because obviously it was in the news, Drake and DeMar going at it. But let's talk about the power of communication for a few minutes, guys, and the power of words and the power of how a word that to some of us might seem so innocuous, but to some it bothers us. And then my friend says to me, she's like, well, but if it means something so much to that one person, but doesn't mean that much to you, do you have to say it? And she really made me think about it. I was like, well, yeah, like actually. If this human over there is bothered by it, it doesn't bother me, then why would I even have to use it? I don't know. Just
that human over there needs to be not so fucking affected by somebody spitting out a word. If you're going to let someone could walk right up to my face, they could say whatever word they want, and I will not let that affect me, period. End of story. If it's someone I love, if it's my daughter saying, hey, Dad, you really fucked up on that. Okay, I'm going to listen to that. But, when it comes down to it, people can use I'm going to choose whether I get affected by it or not. And I'm not going to let a word affect me.
Totally agree. I think when it comes to me, it's a matter of using these words like bitch, like pussy, in reference to women as lesser than. It's not about, for me hearing that, I'm not triggered. We had the dude on the show the other week who said the F word. Okay, that got me. That affected me. Hearing men say pussy or bitch as lesser than, it doesn't affect me. But what it does, it perpetuates a narrative that it means lesser than, because that's the context within which you're using it. You're using it in reference to lesser than. So the way that I see it is, if you have a wife, if you have a daughter, if you have women in your life that I know that you don't think of as lesser than, why use a word that perpetuates that ideal?
And I got to be honest, guys, I was talking to my friend this weekend, and she made me rethink about it. I was like, Ma, that's an interesting way to look at it. Now, I do hear your point of view, Jon, because you've taught me how to react instead of respond. True story, man. Every single day,
You mean respond rather than react?
Yes, 100%. Since I've met you, I have made it a daily awareness. Man, I focus on it. And so I was having this conversation yesterday, and we were chatting about this, and I was like, you raise a good point. Because I wouldn't want somebody referring, and I know, Jon, you won't, if you wouldn't want somebody referring to your daughters or Terry as a pussy or a bitch in a demeaning, negative way, your back would go up. You're like, what the fuck? So I'm intrigued by both sides of it. I really am. And I think for me, it's more so the teaching an old dog new tricks. It opened my mind to it, because I in the past would have probably in thinking about it in a demeaning way. But since this person approached me with this, and I was like, yeah, I got a daughter. I don't know if I'd want somebody degrading my daughter that way. It really made me think about it, Jon and Marty. And I was appreciative of this conversation. And like I said to this friend of mine, I said, if there's one thing I'm learning and I'm really enjoying about getting older, Johnny, is I'm loving this idea of proving the world wrong, that you can teach an old dog new tricks, because I love learning new things every single day.
And when let's just say that we're in a situation where, so this is a word, not a physical act. Somebody has a physical act against one of my ladies, they got a problem on their hands.
Yes.
But if this is a word, I've taught I don't have to teach my wife. She understands. I've taught my daughters, listen, that person doesn't get it. You need to make sure that person stays over there. This is not a person you keep in your space. We don't want to waste our energy, our time with that person. They're uninformed. They're ignorant. We just get them out of our space. It's like we can choose to be affected by idiots, or we can choose to not be and keep them out of our circle.
And pal, there's certainly something to be said for what you've said. I can't disagree with that. And I think that, so where I continue to go through it, sometimes it just is important, I think, to look in our own mirror. and ask ourselves whether it's what's bothering us. Is it the situation? Because I don't want to be respectful. Because I never want to be disrespectful how somebody's feeling if something's bothering them, right?
Totally.
Yeah, and I know you're the same way, Johnny. But to me, it's just I think listen, it's not black and white. I'm fascinated by. I had the same conversation about cultural appropriation with this friend over the weekend, and that's what I love about this show, and that's what I love about this space, that we can have these conversations around curiosity. Right, because maybe there's not a right or wrong answer, but let's talk about it. Right, Marty, what's your POV? Before I jump with the accountability check-in, Marty.
Yeah, no, I'm with John and Kristina here. They both made valid points. My thing is too, though. I'm kind of leaning with Johnny on. Not that I'm not leaning towards Tina. Yeah, I'm with Johnny on the.
You're good.
Okay, I just want to make sure. You gotta kind of have tough skin, and you gotta realize too, even if these people aren't calling you these names to your face, there are people talking behind your back. So right. you've got to be okay with it. You got to just learn to accept it, and you can't teach every old dog new tricks. Some people aren't going to change. They're going to find a reason to continue to talk like that, and it's just part of life. Some people are just idiots. It is what it is.
So one thing I'll add too, when it comes to my side of things, I look at it as not the receiver, but the initiator.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually looking at it as somebody who's having it called about them, or I'm just saying, as a person who knows and is intelligent enough to know, in this case, there's a number of different cases, but pussy and bitch is a reference to women as lesser than. Me, in terms of the words that come out of my mouth, I'm going to be intentional about how they were used, not because they hurt me, but because they do hurt other people, and I'm an empathetic person. Yep. I know I can't control what happens to everyone. And I know I can't control what happens out of everyone's mouth, but what I can control is what happens out of mine and what I'm perpetuating or not by saying words that I'm saying.
Yep. And on that level, I want to add to this that I still believe in what I said, that I will, I will choose not to be affected. I've taught my daughters not to be affected, but I will be the first person to say, I am truly sorry if I said something to offend someone and I recognize what I said offended them, because I don't ever intend to offend somebody. And if I make a mistake, I will apologize sincerely. So it's two sides of the equation. You got to kind of have both. You can't just say, oh, just everybody needs to have thick skin and then just be laying this shit on the table and fucking people up. You got to say, look, you got to have thick skin, and you got to realize that you got to keep these people away. But then at the same time, you got to own the fact that you are intentionally not trying to hurt people with words. And if you do, we all make mistakes. You sincerely apologize and right the wrong. So you got to have both sides of the fence. You can't just have one without the other, is the way I see it.
Great conversation about communication here in the lab from the conduit of communication. Keith Bilous here, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. I love having conversations like this, guys. Come to the lab, bring your topic. Let's have a safe space conversation where we invite everybody and have the dialogue and discourse go round and round. Listen, Jimmy, we got Evan Marks waiting for us. Let's get to the accountability check-in. We'll bring Evan in and keep the conversation going. All right, guys, listen, pull out your phone. Do it right now. Open up your calendar. Look at yesterday's decisions. Not the ones you told the people about. No, the real ones. The real ones you're doing. The ones that shaped your results. Yeah. Now, here's what nobody talks about. Those decisions weren't made in the moment. I know they weren't. They were made the second you opened your eyes. Not because your morning routine isn't just a habit. It's decision training. Every time you hit snooze, you're practicing hesitation. Is that the life you want, to hesitate? Every time you scroll first thing, you're training distraction. No month, the month we're in right now, November, no month isn't about elimination. No, it's about decision evolution. Yes, think about that. Decision evolution. So what low quality decision patterns are you ready to eliminate today? I encourage you, think about it. What's the first morning choice you're going to upgrade today? The clock is running. It's running. The next decision is coming. It's just around the corner. Listen, December is over there. January is over there. You're already behind. If you're laying here not moving, get up. I invite you to get up, because the only question you're going to ask yourself is, are you ready for the next decision coming in front of you? So what it is, the accountability check-in. Every day, 8:18 Eastern time. Listen, if this is hitting different, good. I want it to hit different for you. Your decisions, they need an upgrade. That's why we created the show, the accountability show. Subscribe, share, keep making those same choices. It's your call, or you can make new ones. Send this show to somebody. What's going on, Duggan? Facing a big decision today, because sometimes one morning it will change absolutely everything. All right, Jimmy, let's do it. Let's bring in our guy. Let's bring in the next segment. Going to flip everybody, everything you think you know about morning routines, because we've got a guy named Evan Marks here. Now, Evan sent me a big package of information yesterday. He's like, hey, here's about me. I'm like, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Yeah, I have no idea what you're getting into, Mr. Marks. Evan is here, and he's cracked something fascinating. See, while everybody's debating the perfect morning routine, Evan's in the lab turning cold showers into billion-dollar decisions. He doesn't just coach performance. No. He engineers decision. Yeah, I'm just got distracted by my note over here, Jimmy. I saw your note, Jimmy. Evan gets distracted by, no, listen. Because we got Evan Marks here, he's cracked something fascinating. He doesn't just coach performance, he engineers decision-making environments that transform stuck into unstoppable. Evan, market victories, C-suite breakthroughs, they all started with one decision that changed everything. Evan Marks, welcome to the lab. What city are you joining us today from, and where are you making decisions from today? Evan Marks.
We got
I don't see him.
He's on horizontal. He's not on vert.
All right, we're going to bring Evan on the vertical as well here in just a quick second here. While we're doing that.
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. We can hear you. Yes. I'm the same way. I understand your pain. I understand. You're in the right spot, brother, because I'm side with you. Give me my fax machine back.
I will have a sip of my coffee while we wait to bring Evan Marks into the lab here this morning. There he is right there, coming up on screen here in a quick second. And, we always like to ask the first question of every single guest what their morning routine is as we get Evan. So listen, Evan's worked in NASCAR. Dude, if the guy's worked with NASCAR pit crews, the guy can figure out the camera here, John and Marty. Like, I'm just telling you, the guy's been on some of the fastest.
We can't see you. Press where it says mute and stop cam at the bottom left.
Tech tips from CMarty
on the vertical.
Good morning's live. Good morning. Good time. Good to see you.
Youngsters.
What's that?
I love it. Marty's. I love it. He understands how to run this tech stuff.
That's awesome. Good morning, Scott Brown. Good to see you in the comments as well. I love to see you guys. Here comes Evan. There's Evan Marks.
There we go. There we go.
It was on the other. There were so many streaming things, guys. I'm literally. I can't believe I figured this out. By the way, killer conversation you guys were having.
Yes.
Thank you, Evan.
Ever. People can affect how you feel, but never let them affect how you behave. Ever. Right?
So, Evan, what's your point of view on this, Evan? So, I'm assuming you're married. Maybe you have daughters, wife, or females in your life?
I got 2 daughters, 14 and 12. And
okay.
Listen, words matter, how we use them. We talk about emotional intelligence. It's fucking true. I mean, we're grown adults. Use your words properly. Understand the environment you're in. If you want to use the P word, I mean, I curse all the time, but I know where I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I know the audience I'm with. I can talk to one client differently than the next one. But I have to be aware of one, how I want to represent myself, and also aware of how are they going to perceive what I'm about to say. Words matter. That's one. And two, we all have feelings. We're emotional beings, right? We all experience. However, we're able to become conscious of how we want to behave.
Mm-hmm.
That's called evolving. Keith, you could say something to me that I'm offended, but if I put mental space between how I feel and how I respond, like John, you were saying, you tell me that's not freedom.
Mm-hmm.
People can affect how I feel. I can't control that. Like, John, you could say something to me that hurts my feelings. I'm a human being. I think I'm a tough guy, but you'll never, ever see me bite back. Ever.
That's a really that's an amazing quality, brother, because so many people don't have that. They react rather than respond, and that's where difficulty comes from. That's where confrontation comes from. A lot of times it's just a couple of quick responses a couple quick reactions that make a big problem. When if those people slowed it down, took a deep breath, and had a couple of responses rather than reactions, it could have just been worked out and everything would have been fine.
And by the way, John, it's not, if you come at me, it's not you doing it. It's somebody in my past. When you talk about psychoanalytical, it's like, how can you, John, affect me right now? I don't even know you. I love your hat. I love your glasses. I mean, you're obviously jacked beyond belief. But how are you going to affect me? I don't even know you. However,
That's exactly right, brother. It's exactly right. I shouldn't be able to pierce your armor. That's perfect.
You know what's
and you're my father, my brother. You're somebody in my past that got me. It triggered me. It's humans. I mean, we're not Teflon, but we do have control.
You know what's timely about this, John and Evan and Marty, is that you guys are in America right now, and I'm here in Canada, so I really don't have a say in this at all, frankly. But I do want to offer this. The timeliness of this conversation is extremely important, considering what's happening in your backyard this week, right? So just because one might wear a red hat or a blue hat, doesn't mean that you hate the guy. It just means you might have a disagreement on somebody's policy. Like, just because Evan doesn't know who John is, but John's like, yeah, well, I like this color of Kool-Aid instead of that color of Kool-Aid. It doesn't mean that Evan has to hate John. It just means that John just might like a different Kool-Aid than Evan. Evan doesn't even know John. And I think that's part of the problem here, isn't it, Evan?
You know, it's so true. Like, I was watching for 15 minutes, and I was jonesing at the bit to get in this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, John and I we're not that different. We're not that different. We're really not that different. He's got daughters. I got daughters, right? Politically, maybe think about things a little differently. That's programmed, right? But you're telling me that kindness with intensity doesn't win? Fucking bullshit, dude. Of course it does. So you're telling me that I don't want the best for my daughters and John doesn't want the best for his kids? Of course he does. There's not a common denominator that him and I both live on? Of course we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may think, I don't know, whatever you think that's going on.
But it's policy, Evan. That has nothing.
You don't think something's going on in his story. Ev, I need your help. If I'm a Republican, Democrat, whatever I think, I'm there.
Exactly.
I'm fucking there, man. I got you.
Yes.
That's the philosophy we need. I got you back.
And that's just it, Evan. And I think that's hold on, Marty. One last thing. That's
what sight that we're all still. Well, Keith, I love you. Use the word humans all the time.
Yes.
Humans first. Well, somehow that we're all human we've lost sight of that element of this whole equation. You know.
Yes.
And if you take it, what does it really make a difference? You know, what color you're wearing. You know, let's even forget about politics. You know, let's just say I don't like what, Jack Smith is wearing. Well, human, I'm a human. Does it really matter? He likes it. Perfect.
Yeah. Don't confuse policy, nation. Yeah. Don't confuse policy. Marty, I know you wanted to say something here, brother.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love how Evan pointed out, like, we all want the same thing at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yes.
And, me, playing sports, I was fortunate enough to, spend the night at different teammates' houses, different races, different cultures, different religion. We're all not that different.
Yeah, yes.
We're really not that different, It's so I think it's so ignorant.
Man.
We all take a dump and put our pants on the same way.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's all I was going to say. That's just super ignorant. I hate that about our country.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm with you, Marty. Shit, brother.
Let's keep the conversation going with Evan Marks here on the center stage here. Mornings in Live with Keith and friends. And this is great, guys. I did not expect the conversation to take up the whole 30
Sorry,
minutes.
Keith.
No. I love it. That's the whole point of the show.
This is magic, baby. This is magic.
I had a chat over the weekend with his friend about conversation, and then all of a sudden DeMar dropped pussy or Drake dropped. I'm like, wow, there just sets up the opening loop of the show today. It just happened naturally. But Evan, here's what's going to happen. Before we break from C Marty's fit tip, I got a question for you. Then we're going to come back and get into deep dive with Evan Marks, get to know Evan. Evan, how we ask this question of every single person on our show. How do you start your morning? What is Evan Marks' morning routine?
Well, how about this one? Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
The question is, how do I go to bed?
Oh, I love that.
Let's get it.
Start there.
Speaking our language.
Come on.
Speaking our language.
I heard you guys earlier. How do I go to bed? That's the big thing. Listen, when I wake up, I'm 52 years old.
Let's go.
Come on.
I'm ready to go always. Actually, I'm ready. I can't wait to wake up. I wake up 4:45 every morning since I'm 16. I'm ready to go. I mean, I obviously take a nap because I'm old now at 12 o'clock because I need my nap.
I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
All right, since I'm 32, so it hasn't been in less, but like I do. I mean, my energy, I have to know my energy cycles. But in the morning, fucking get out of my way, man. My kids are so annoyed when they wake up at 7. I've been up for fucking 2.5 hours already. I've been coaching, sauna, ice tubs, all this stuff. Like, shit, he's up again. But for me, and we set the pace.
Oh, I love it.
You got to know your tempo. You got to know your own energy and how you do things. Does everybody have to wake up like me? No. But I will say one thing. You better watch your night routine because it will dictate your morning.
Brother, I love that. One of the things I say is tomorrow's success is planned today, and that's before you go to bed. You know what that moment. You wake up and your body just starts doing it because it's been mentally programmed. I love it, brother. Sorry for interrupting, but you got me all squirming.
Yeah, so you know, John, there's a great book. Jesse Itzler, I think we know, and we know Dave Goggins. He wrote a book called Living with Seal, way before Goggins was who Goggins is now. Who's a mental beast. He has a line: "Remember tomorrow." What you do today, remember tomorrow how you're going to feel. Like that second drink, third drink. Do I really have to binge Netflix at 11:30 when I know I want to wake up in the morning? Nah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Remember tomorrow, because that's when you start winning. So I've really honed in on my nightly routine. My kid's like, shit, he's in bed again at 9:45. I'm like, guys, I don't know what you're doing. I got things I got to do tomorrow, man. And my wife's like, man, it's 5 a.m. I'm up, and they hear me. They're like, God damn it.
I love it. I love it. All right, we're gonna do the CMartyFit tips. So there's Evan's routine. Evan's routine starts the night before, guys. So if you want to have a successful morning, it's got to start the night before. Marty, you're up, brother. CMartyFit tip. We got energy this morning in the lab. Bring it, Marty.
A lot of energy. Let's get it. All right, we got the fitness tip for today. So today we're gonna talk about you need to stop focusing on motivation, right, and start focusing on your defaults. Okay, what's your default move when stress hits, when your energy is down, when life throws you off? Are you going to react? Are you going to respond? Just like we were talking about a few minutes ago, right? Most people let stress justify skipping the workout, and we don't have time for that. There's no excuse to skip your workout unless it's an emergency, like super crazy emergency. But what if by default working out is your reset? What if that's going to make you feel better? What if the workout is what's going to get you on track? What if the workout is going to help you respond instead of react? So instead of reaching for the couch, going to binge watch Netflix, grabbing the drink, going to the drive-through of the fast food restaurant that your personal trainer told you to stop going to, right? Instead of doing that, use movement as the first response to a burnout, to a bad day, to just business throwing you off, family issues, whatever it is. So make it a rule. When your mind says skip, your body says go. Still find a way to get to that workout. Still find a way to push through even when you don't feel like it. And guess what? You're going to feel better after the workout. You're going to be glad that you went. Nobody ever regretted, going to a workout when they didn't feel like it. So your default mode is going to shape your results way more than any little boost of motivation. We don't talk about motivation here. We talk about discipline, mental toughness, and resiliency. So rewire that default, make fitness a stress response, and watch it become the most powerful habit in your life. That's the fitness tip for today.
All right, there's Marty. Marty's bringing that energy along with Evan and Johnny and Flynn and myself this morning.
Absolutely.
We're keeping it going here. We got it rocking. Marty's got a big day ahead of him today. We're all excited for Marty and the family here. Marty's got a massive day in front of him here today. So eager to keep that momentum going. All right, let's go deeper with Evan. We've been talking with Evan on morning routine and night routines and what time to go to bed at night and so forth. But listen, because morning routines just aren't about productivity, they're about prepping for the moments when everything's on the line. Evan, in your 25 years of watching high performers make career-defining decisions, Evan, what's the morning pattern that predicts whether someone will execute or hesitate when pressure hits? And I'm going to add to that question. You said that it starts the night before, but when you sit down with a client for the first time or the second time, is that the first question you ask them, which is, hey, Keith, do you start your morning in the morning or do you start your morning the night before? Evan.
Well, it's interesting. So what I do for a living, so I'm a mental performance coach. So I marry the why and the how. So my practice is based on modern psychoanalytical theory, meets the latest research in neuroscience, which is how the brain works. So I usually say, I said, why? Why did you come to me now? That's how I start things. What brought you to say, you know what? Something's off. I'm not evolving the way I want to evolve. I'm not the person I need to be, I want to be, I should be. So it's really, it's interesting because I'm going to geek out for a second, but our learned behavior, our circuitry in our brains is pre-programmed from our caregivers, from the environment we grew up in. I want to know that. I want to do a little scuba dive to understand who I'm working with, because we all have different starting points. I can't say here are the goals, because you probably never obtain the goals you wanted to do anyway. So I want to know what behavior we need to change, because, and it's so, it's great how you guys started. We're all emotional beings. You're allowed to be nervous, frustrated, ashamed, embarrassed, name it, fear of. But how do I attach a new behavior to the fear of being nervous, ashamed, embarrassed to create a new experience for you? And what that does psychologically, neurologically in your brain, we start to rewire. So I really, Keith, I want to know where I'm starting with. Where are you in this journey? Right? Because everybody's different. I can't say, here's a fucking template, let's just go to work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right? Like my average client is 5.5 years. We build strong mental foundations. Everything you guys discussed before I got on and now, we build that brick by brick, consistency, resilience, persistence, and then we leverage it, piss out of it. And that's what I do for a living.
Hey, dude, you drop brick by brick, you might get a cease and desist order from Bill or from Adam, because I dropped that in my post yesterday, and I got a letter from Bill and Adam, cease and desist for using brick by brick. Sorry, Adam House, just saying it, Evan.
Adam, I love you, brother. You know it too. But literally, the thing about brick by brick, Adam House Senior, love you. But it's one of those things where cement's got to dry. Yeah. And just because you did it once or twice doesn't mean the brick's laid in. It's that repetition. People always ask me, Ed, when am I going to see results? You know what I said? I said, I've no idea, no clue. What do you mean you have no clue? I said, but I'll tell you one thing. Today and in a couple weeks or whatever from now, it's going to look a lot different. A lot different. It's really just, I always talk about, Keith, about you have to slow down in order to speed up. But slowing down is not taking your foot off the gas. It's really the art of intentionality. Be fucking intentional, man.
Yeah.
Be intentional with your morning routine, with your evening routine. What you want, be clear. The path, Marty, what you were saying when we took that break about training and stuff like that, that's intention. Like, you may not see it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but when you start to see it, it opens up. Because progress is so elusive sometimes. As a coach, I see it before my client because I observe, right? I'm the outside looking in. But you start to get intentional. All of a sudden, and I did a podcast a couple of weeks, you look back, you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
How did I get here? And then, bang, it starts to leverage, right? Because 2 and 2 and 4 means nothing. 4 and 4 and 8, nothing. But as you start to go, you're like, man, this is awesome. And what happens then? It goes even more.
Evan, you've mentioned the relationship between physical challenge and decision confidence. Now, let's lean into the neuroscience with this. This is where you come from. What happens in someone's brain, Evan Marks, when they start their day conquering something that scares them? You've been there. You've got clients. You get up and you're like, oh, fuck, I got to go to a meeting today. I'm scared of. I got to go for a run. I got a big lift. And, let's not get caught up in defining scares. There's an emotional reaction. A person's waking up and they're hesitantly getting through their morning. What happens in that person's brain when they start their day conquering something that scares Evan Marks?
Remember, it's not the result, right? There's a great Harvard research out that when we're result driven, we can significantly diminish our skill set. So how do we tie that research into what's going on in the brain? Dopamine, serotonin.
Yeah.
It's not the fact when it's over that you get that dopamine kick. The reward actually is in the doing of it.
Yes.
The journey, baby.
Yeah.
It's the journey of it. That, ooh, whoa. Like, so cold showers, right? You guys mentioned earlier. I've been doing it for 15 years. I fucking hate it. Hate it. But what happens, dopamine levels last for 6 hours after you get out of one of these cold showers. For like, I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes. It's just boosting. It's not even that. It's the fact that you walk out like, why did I just do that? But you did it. 3 minutes. You're telling me when you go scrolling your phone for 29,000 minutes a day that this 3 minutes, and it changes, first of all, neurologically in your brain, but it changes what you believe about yourself. Nobody wants to take a cold shower. But when you do, what else am I capable of doing? That's the whole fucking process behind that. Whether you're a CEO, athlete, trader, I don't care where, founder, when your belief system starts to change, it's a conscious, intentional act. I think we're all saying the same thing.
Yes.
When you start to, confidence, consistency with evidence builds confidence. Fucking bang. Performance equals potential minus interference. We start to navigate that simplicity with repetition.
Evan, I say this often to folks who come to me and say, yeah, I want to start a business. I'm like, oh, yeah? Why don't you go run a marathon or climb a mountain or go do bodybuilding competition first? Like, oh, why would I do that? Like, oh, so if you can commit to 100 days or 120 days of that first to go save yourself thousands of dollars, because it's not going to be fucking easy. And that's why I love doing endurance sports, because it's about a mental game for me. I talk with Johnny and Marty about it all the time. If I'm going on to a 60, 90-minute run or a cycle, it's like fucking 90 minutes of torture. Why do I do it? I hate it. But it mentally makes me strong. And that's what business is. That's what my whole weekend's been, thinking about business. So I often say to somebody, before you go into business, go and fucking run a marathon or go climb a mountain or go do bodybuilding like Andersen, because if you can get through that, then come back and talk to me. Evan, comment on that.
I know it's so cliche, but cliches are true for a reason.
Yeah, it's so true.
The greatest feeling of all, it's not the fear of rejection, embarrassment. It's actually the fear of regret.
Yes.
That is the most intense. Now, why is that so? And Keith going to me say, what happens if I fail?
Yeah.
Hold you back.
Yes.
What happens? I invest in businesses, and I don't pick secretariats left and right. But if I get 2 of them out of 40, I'm good. So it's almost the fact that, like, I may fail, but what if? And Keith, you said something else. The art. I'm doing a TEDx about curiosity. Curious. What happens if I win? What happens if I actually pull this shit off?
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens there in the brain is fascinating stuff. Is that I can't, I won't. Like, what does like Yoda say? If you can't, you won't. You try. Whatever the hell he says. What happens if? What would it feel like? What would it look like? So now in your brain, it's almost like I can't, I won't. Because curiosity in its purest sense is information seeking. So if Jon Andersen goes, what would it look like if I formed the greatest coaching, gym, whatever you do? What would that look like? So now, as opposed to, well, I don't know, what happens if? It's like, because it opens the gate to, obviously you may fail, no shit, but you may win.
And on that level too, brother, going back to what you're saying, it's, I mean, first off, I agree with everything. And, when you're talking about belief, and when you walk into a room or anywhere and you are confidently knowing that you're willing to make the harder decisions, you're willing to do the more difficult shit than the people around you, it puts you in such a pole position to just do what the fuck you want, because if you land on your face, you'll be the first one back to your feet. And if you can live your life this way, the world becomes your playground.
Because you have evidence, John, that, it's all right. Because what happens is, and this is all psychoanalytical, what happens if I fail? We start going down these fractals. My wife won't love me. I'll lose my house. I'll lose this. We start going that way, right? That's just a normal way. Because remember, we're wired as humans through evolution, survival first, instead of thriving. But we know now through the greatest research in neuroscience that we can't take the pendulum all the way to thriving, because it just doesn't work that way. But the words we use, like you guys spoke earlier, the behaviors we consciously choose, we could take that pendulum and get it more to the middle.
Brother, oh my God. You hear the word failure. I in my own mantra, I either I succeed or I learn.
I love that. It's true though. All failure does is give me a better position to try again. So I learned. Failure is part of the process. You cannot succeed without lots of failures. Cannot succeed without a lot of learning. So why not just take that fucking word and learn over the top of it, and then everybody stop fucking flipping out. And I agree with you, John. Right, the learning side of that is like, listen, you could be a fool and keep failing because you're doing the same fucking thing over and over and over because you're a moron, right? Because you're not learning, you're not being introspective, you're not reflecting. Like then, failures are right because no, it's not. If you're not learning and keeps making the same mistakes, it's not going to work for you.
Well, isn't that the definition of temporary insanity? Repeating the same process, 100%. Hoping for a different outcome.
That's what you call a technical timeout. You say, wait a second, okay, something's wrong.
Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, Evan, Marty, and John here. Mornings Alive with Keith and friends. Evan Marks is hanging out here this morning. A great conversation. Clearly, Flynn, Marty, and John, we got to have Marks back. He is absolutely
I just want to add one thing because I kind of just was soaking up the game. But I wanted to, real quick, Evan, I love how you say you've been doing the cold showers for 15 years and you fucking hate it. And what I got from that was basically you got to continue to challenge yourself and do something difficult that you don't look forward to doing because life, it just keep throwing challenges at you. Even at 52, I'm 31, but I'm just learning from the older guys. And, I'm loving the game. That's why I ain't really saying much. But I just wanted to add that real quick.
You're absolutely right, Marty.
To be really honest with you, but you can't be a fucking moron. I did a CrossFit class. I'm like, you know what? I got my photo in the basement. I got all this stuff. I'm like, I look at my wife. I'm coaching 10 hours a day. I say, I don't see anybody. I'm doing, by the way, shoulder replacement. I played college lacrosse. Total shoulder replacement. 2 reconstructive knee surgery. I have to get a new knee put in. I mean, so many surgeries. I was like, do you think that's a good idea? I go, let me give it a shot. On the floor for a week with a dislocated L5, a slipped L5. My wife looks at me. She goes, really? You haven't learned much, have you?
All right, Evan. So before we walk you out of the door here, my friend, how can Business Athlete Nation connect with Evan Marks, M1 Performance, before we bring Johnny up for the lifestyle tip and Jory Jansen in for our protein break? Evan, how can Nation connect with you, my friend?
I'm on LinkedIn at Evan Marks. I'm on Instagram at emarks72. I have my own, obviously, I hope I have a website, otherwise I'm not really a business. It's m1performancegroup.com, which has a cool video and all my podcasts and what I do and all that garbage.
Dude, come back here.
Can I leave with a leaving note?
Yes.
We all have the power to choose. Yes. Just give yourself a little bit of fucking mental space. That's it. You'll start really forming new experiences. Just take a breath. Take a breath.
The power of intention. Evan Marks, M1 Performance. Evan, you come back, hang out with us again sometime, will you?
Any day of the week, brother.
Hey, thanks, Evan. Appreciate you, man.
Everybody, and Keith, that El Guapo, I'm telling you, man, I appreciate you inviting me on.
Brother, I just got to say, brother, you're a fucking rock star. Keep this shit going, man. I love it.
Johnny, I appreciate that, brother.
We're going to bring Marks back. He's going to be a hit. I can tell he's with our audience. He's going to be a hit with our audience. He's back. Evan Marks, M1 Performance. Go check him out. Jon Andersen, the lifestyle tip. Jory Jansen's up next with the protein break. We're talking ketosis. Evan, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to, brother.
I love ketosis, man. I haven't eaten yet. Yeah, I don't eat for 5 days sometimes. Yeah.
And if you want to hang on in the green room, hang out. We'll bring you back on for the next segment as well.
No, man, I got an hour. Yeah, I love this shit.
All right, hang around, Marks. Johnny, you're up, brother.
Let's go. All right. We all know that life can be a son of a bitch sometimes. It just feels like at different points in our lives, it just feels like everything is working against us. Well, remember this. An airplane will intentionally choose to take off into the wind. So what you got to remember is don't run from the resistance. Don't run from the forces that are coming at you. Run to them. When you push into these challenges, this is where you're going to have the big rewards. I cannot tell you how impactful this was in my life. When I started to learn to run to it rather than running from it, everything started to change. I know it's counterintuitive, but trust me when I tell you, give this a try and you will see some major fruits from your labor. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. Once you ring this bell, you can't unring the bell, and life will be forever changed. Rock and roll.
Jon Andersen, the lifestyle tip of the day, every single day, 8:45 Eastern time. Give you something to rock and roll, guys. All right. Hey, we got this one coming up here.
There's the GOAT.
Yes, Jory Johnson joining us this morning from Winnipeg, Canada, our resident nutritionist, dietitian, food expert. And Johnny, Jimmy, if Evan's hanging around, we can bring Evan up for this one as well. We'll keep Evan in the conversation here. But Jory, last week we talked intermittent fasting. And man, we had a great chat Monday, Wednesday, Friday, talking about how to do it, what to do. But then you dropped the nugget, Jory, on Friday. And you're like, oh, about ketosis. I'm like, oh. And Johnny's like, oh, ketosis. Because Johnny, he works a lot of clients and on achieving body recomp, body composition. Let's spend some time talking today about ketosis, what it means, how it works. There's guys tuning in right now going, okay, they talked about intermittent fasting. What the hell does ketosis thing mean? Jory, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. So ketosis is really your body transitioning from using a steady flow of glucose, which is readily available for us, so we can actually think and concentrate, make good decisions, and have quality workouts. If you're a high-level performance athlete, it's a great quick source of energy to keep you going. So when you're in ketosis, you're switching from using glucose, a storage form of glycogen and our muscle and liver. You're switching to fatty acids, and fatty acids through metabolic processes eventually becomes your energy source, and you use that as your main fuel source to give you the energy that you're looking for.
Johnny, love to hear you jumping on this one too, brother.
I always try to put this into a form that's really easy for people to understand. So what Jory said is perfect, 100%. And during that switch, when the body goes into burning the fatty acids, it basically creates a.
My bad.
So basically, as the body does this, right, it's almost like the exhaust is a ketone, and the brain senses this and goes, "Hey, I don't know what the hell that is, but that is really user friendly. It feels really easy to use. Make some more of those." And so the body goes into basically creating, it goes into hyperketone, if you will, and the problem is that people end up, you hear of people getting into ketosis and they kind of burn out. Well, it's almost like the body is in this it's burning fatty acids, which is a challenge. And it's almost like a runner going around a track. At some point, he's got to stop and he's got to breathe a little bit. And so a lot of times people get into ketosis and they crash and they have different problems. It's because it's not an easy process for the body. But what I like is the idea is when people understand that when the body starts to burn that fatty acid, the exhaust is a ketone. And remember, this is just to help people understand how it works. The brain senses that, says, I like this. Let's keep going. Make more of those things. And boom, off it goes.
Jory, why would somebody want to adopt this? Why would somebody want to get into ketosis? And so then the second part of that question is, how hard is it for a human to get into ketosis? And then the third part, when does it happen? So why, how, and when?
So the why is varied. For some people, it's for medical reasons, right? They want to get their blood sugar in control. Also, some people, especially with young ones, it helps control seizures. So there's medical reasons why people will follow a ketogenic diet. Generally, what most of us are going to face with, our clients are looking for weight loss.
Okay.
So they're looking for the next thing that's going to help them get into weight loss. So that's usually the why. Not always, but usually.
Yes.
And so
majority of the time, would you agree, Joy? It's the majority is weight loss.
Yeah.
That's the trigger, right? So I'm saying, let's lean here. So Jory and John, when people come to you guys, 99% of the time, it's because, is it weight loss or is it body composition? They're two different things.
They are two different things. For me, it depends on the population.
Okay.
So when I'm dealing with people like I consider me, general population,
yes.
it's usually for a weight loss until we have a conversation.
Okay.
For high performance athletes, whether it's pro sport or Olympic, it's both, because sometimes the sport depends on weight. Right. So it doesn't matter what their body composition is. If they're not making weight, they're not competing. So it will depend on who my client is. But let's say like general, like high performance humans, but not pro or Olympic athletes. They usually say weight loss, but as we have a conversation, we realize it's more than just weight loss, especially if they're looking for other health outcomes as well. We're looking at body composition. I think that's really important to think about. So with the ketogenic diet, generally, like you're having like the carbohydrate source will be equivalent to having a large banana, really. Like you're getting about 30 grams of carbs from a banana. So not that you have to eat a banana, but that amount of carbohydrate doesn't take much to
for the day, like the whole day.
Whole day. Yeah.
The whole day.
It's not at once. It's sneaking its way in there. You can't get that shit out. It's like, I call it unintentionally digested carbohydrate.
Yeah. So that's what you get. And it's not a high protein diet either. It's a moderate protein. It's the high fat content. Fat content will be like 45% to like 70% of your total intake. So it depends on the size of your body too, to, what does low carb mean to you? So you got to play around with it a little bit, but it could take 12 hours to like days to get to ketosis. It depends on the individual. It really does. And so you have to really play around with it. You're going to feel, for most people, are going to feel pretty crappy for a week to 3 weeks of like flu-like symptoms, because your body's adapting. It's getting used to this new source of energy that you're trying to use to create these metabolic changes. Johnny?
Yeah, excuse me. A lot of people think that a low carbohydrate diet is keto. It's so not the case. Your protein, just keeping your protein high in most cases is going to keep somebody out of ketosis. And so just remember, just like Jory said, the protein is not a very big part of a keto diet. The fat is the majority. And so for those of you out there that think you're going to just drop your carbohydrate and you're going to be in a state, you're going to drop yourself into ketosis. I mean, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Everybody's very different how it happens. But just remember, if you're truly wanting a keto diet, your protein is fairly low compared to just dropping out, your carbohydrate.
Marty, is this something you talk with your clients about in your world, Marty, on the athletic side?
Not really. I didn't realize how much of your diet was fats on when you're trying to get in ketosis. I didn't realize that. I thought it was high protein, but not really, because most of them are focused on body composition and building muscle. So keto isn't really something we talk about. They run it across my plate. I've done some research, but not really. Not with my clients.
Yeah. So listen, Marty's got to rock and roll, brother. I know you got to rock and roll out of here. So we're gonna say goodbye to Marty here in a quick second. But Joey, I want to keep you for an extra minute if you don't mind, because you said something which really stuns me. Not stuns me, but makes me curious, and I think audience would be curious as well. And then Johnny repeated it. Like, ketosis doesn't happen instantly. Like you said, it could take up to a couple of weeks, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm in ketosis 3 days later." No, you're not. And I'm bringing this up, nation, because I've been there. I've been the guy who's tried fucking everything, yo-yoing, macros and ketosis and not eating.
I can see you now, man.
I've done all of it. I've done all the bullshit. So
you can get ketosis in like days, right?
Yeah, it's really got to do with how efficient your body is with burning the fatty acids. So everybody's so different.
Yeah. But those symptoms of feeling like crap, which again, remember in previous series, I said, if you're going to start something new, make sure it's the right time. Like if you're starting a new career path, maybe wait. Because your body is adjusting, right? Like if I think when I was a brand new mom, like it took like years to like be normal. And I don't know if I've ever been normal again. When you try these things, and the research shows that after most of whatever it is, whether it's ketogenic, whether it's paleo, whatever it is, once you reach that 6-month mark, there's no difference between any of them.
Oh man, good stuff. Jory Jansen, you're always dropping nuggets, man. You get my brain just flying. You come in here, you leave, and then my brain goes all day thinking about things to talk about and ask. Johnny,
one more thing we got to drop one more thing on the
Please, Johnny.
keto thing, because people say, "Oh man, I'm going to do keto. I get to eat all this fat if they're properly informed." Yeah. And of course, people are looking at the fucking fat that is terrible. So let's just say keto or not, you eat that shitty fat, you're going to feel like you got the flu no matter what. So when you do this, you got to be a little fucking sensible about your fat choices. You can't pick a bunch of heavy, like really, really toxic fucking fat sources. If you actually will use try to really lean on your essential fats primarily for your fat sources, your body's going to react very differently. I mean, hell, if I took, and switched my diet to say 70%, like I was going to go to keto, and then I picked the average American's choices of fats, fuck, I would feel terrible. Well, no shit, you're going to feel terrible because you eat that crappy food. It doesn't matter what you're following. Your body's toxic.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know what? High fat, high protein, those keep you feeling fuller longer. So I'm not surprised people will see an initial weight loss, not necessarily body composition, but weight loss for sure. But yeah, we're looking at, long-term, this can be hard for some people. It's increasing bad cholesterol, decreasing good cholesterol, the HDL. So that can lead, if you have a family history of heart disease, consider exactly what fats are you putting in. If type 1 diabetes, I wouldn't go there. Type 2, with some assistance from your medical team, maybe give it a whirl and see if you can get some of those changes rather quickly that you're looking for, but then look for something more sustainable long-term. So that way your family still likes hanging out with you.
I love it. John and Jory, do we need to keep the conversation going on Wednesday about fat? And I know it's so cliche and simple for many, but maybe not. Still, people get confused by fat. And I'm only going to ask because John and Jory, are people in 2024 still fucking confused by fat? John?
Yes.
I mean, when it comes down to it, people don't recognize that there's fats that your body is welcoming and there's fats that your body's going, what the fuck are you doing? And think of it like this too, a fat cell is a storage of toxicity. So if you're choosing, a high fat version, let's just say like pork, like bacon, people go on keto and they're just fucking crushing bacon. If it's an organic animal, fine. But YouTube, how they feed pigs, you got fucking dump trucks of garbage backing up and they're eating it all. So they're eating all that toxicity. Where the fuck do you think that shit goes? They crap some of it out, but a lot of it's in there in the animal, in the fat cell. Well, guess what? You're eating 70% of your diet is the fucking garbage that pig just got done eating over the last 2 years. So you got to really understand, there's when we say good and bad fats, there's no fucking joke here. And then you go into trans fats. I mean, Jory, the science, and I don't even think the body can get rid of that stuff. That's just fucking circulating in the fucking bloodstream.
It does. Yeah.
It's like, this is a topic that people really need to be informed on.
Well, that's what we're going to do then. Jory, Johnny, we're going to keep the chat going. I dig this, man. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we start this chat and then it goes into a direction. And then Marty, nugget after nugget just drops out of Jory's mouth and Johnny's mouth. And it's like playing fucking ping pong, right? And then we just leave us and we just learn something. So Jory, thank you again, as always. Final word to you, Jory Jansen, before we say goodbye. We're over time. Final word to you before we say goodbye. Jory.
My final words is let's keep the conversation going because I think there is some myth information out there, right? Yes. So let's keep it going and just help people make informed decisions at the very least.
Because you can't get fat with fat.
You can.
And you can. So as Johnny says, you can get fat with fat, or you can lose fat. What is it, Johnny? The man who wakes up happy or sad can be the same man, or whatever that saying you have, John. Marty, shut up.
I mean, when it comes down to it doesn't. You make poor decisions with your diet. It doesn't make a difference what you're eating. You could get fat.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Well, all right, Marty's got to go. Marty's got a big day ahead of him.
I see y'all.
Jory, have a good one. We'll see you Wednesday, okay?
And it's the man who says he can and cannot. They're both right. All right. See y'all later. See y'all tomorrow.
See you, Jory. See you, Marty. All right, we got Flynn coming up. We got Flynn coming up with the brand bite. Let's get after it, Flinner.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this, folks. Okay. Wait till my screens are clear. We are good. All right. So here's a 20-minute exercise that can change everything. Self-reflection. It's everything when it comes to self-improvement, but unfortunately, too many of us don't know where to start. So here's an exercise that takes 20 minutes max, but could save you, it says fucking 20 hours of work. I don't know. It saves you a lot of time. That's one of those like bro quotes. So here's what I want you to do. Visualize yourself at 12 years old. What were you like back then? What did you dream about? What were you afraid of? Now imagine walking up to that same 12-year-old, you as a 12-year-old, and sharing details about your life now. Tell them where you live, who you're surrounded by, what you do for a living, and go even deeper. Your likes, your fears, your aspirations. How would that 12-year-old respond to you? Are they proud? Are they shocked? Maybe they're a little disappointed. Whatever the answers are, use them. Let them motivate you. Let them guide you through your next steps. And remember that there's no one way and there's no wrong way for doing this. There's only your way and your opportunity to further connect with your story. Yes, it is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into effect, you will be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
All right, there's Flynn, the brand bite, every single day, 9 o'clock Eastern time, mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. We're running a few minutes over time here today after Jory just dropped out of here with talking, we're talking about ketosis and fat and so forth. And you guys want to listen to that if you haven't tuned into it yet. But hey, we are on for Reloaded. Jimmy, hour 2 is beginning. Not a few minutes behind, that's okay. The power of live content. Yep, and I think, so you know what, actually, Evan was supposed to stick around to dance for this. Flynn. I think
he was. No.
Yes. I don't know where the hell Mark's went, but Mark's was going to hang around, but he left. He's probably doing burpees or something in his basement. I don't know what he's doing, but all right. So listen, the first hour is done. Morning Loop. We talked about the power of language. We met Evan Marks. Jumps into the cold shower every single day. We continue that chat about just the choices you have in your day and you know, where you're going to head. And then we talked to Jon Andersen about ketosis and fat burning and so forth. Now we're going to restart the second hour, Morning Loop Reloaded. And I want to start this hour the same way that I started the last hour. And I just, you know, we don't get many chances to do this, but I want to keep leaning into the conversation with humanity. And Johnny, I subscribed to Arnold Schwarzenegger's newsletter. The Pumped, or whatever it's called, and he dropped something in my inbox this morning. I wanted to talk about it because I thought he just said some really great things which are meaningful, considering it is a big week in the United States. And you know, first of all, Johnny, he says, "Nation, business athlete nation, Americans, use your power." Right. You know, it's easy to take things for granted, but there are people around the world who give up everything to have the opportunity to choose a direction for your country. So just, you know, I say this often in Canada. I say this with civic, all kind of politics. You can't bitch if you're not going to vote. It's just, you can't. You can't have one without the other. But here's the one, and here's the one I really want to lean into for today's show. The second challenge that Arnold puts on the table for all of us is this. It's going to be harder for everybody. And we talked about this a little bit in the first hour, and I know Johnny believes what I'm going to say very clearly here. I want you to remember, Business Athlete Nation, that even though people might disagree with you, they're not your enemy. No. You might disagree with somebody about debt or taxes or immigration, you name it. I'm just reading Arnold's word for word here. But that does not mean you have to give up your humanity. And it doesn't mean you have to be nasty to the person over there. It doesn't mean that they're a communist or a Nazi. And here's what I loved about what he said, Kristina and John. It just means that that person over there has a different vision of policy. That's it. That's it. Doesn't mean they hate Jon. Doesn't mean they hate Keith. Got a different point of view. And what I've learned, especially as I get older, there's some power in learning about new points of view. And I know that there's some people at the top have given all of us a bad example, how to treat our fellow men and human. And all you have to do is listen to some of the rhetoric over the last few days. So just put that aside. But my challenge that Arnold says to all of you is just to stay out of the mud, because there's going to be enough nastiness over these next 5 to 10 days in the United States, no matter what happens. So as Arnold says to all of you, and I'm going to offer it up as well, just as your Canadian uncle to the north, I encourage you, you know how to, as you start your day, rise above it. Be the human. Wherever you vote, I really don't care how you vote, frankly. It makes no difference to me. I just want you to get out there, make a decision, be human about it, and love the person across the table. And remember, it's a policy that you might not agree with. It's not the human that you probably don't like or agree with. Johnny.
First off, of course, I agree with everything. But I think if we took this whole concept and we boil it down a little bit, let's start off with, if we can, well, I shouldn't say we, I can't include myself in this one, but if those of you that are commuting to work every day, if you can keep from flipping off your fucking neighbor in traffic, that's a good start.
Yes.
Because it's, of course, you're going to be all fucking wound up with a difference in opinion of policy. If you can't fucking treat each other with respect when you're sitting in a fucking car in traffic next to each other. And
yes.
So it's kind of like, I think it's got to go. I so agree with everything, but I think, if you get to the roots of it, I think then, all of the things that we see that are above ground are going to start to change. And unfortunately, somehow, some way, everybody's gotten so goddamn wound up tight. And, the word hate is thrown around like it's like I don't think that word should be part of someone's vocabulary. Dislike, there's so many words you can use to describe it that doesn't prompt that direction of your mind. But either way, I so agree, Arnold. And on that level, I think the place to start is with the easy shit, with the stuff, just treating your fellow man with respect in the goofiest little situations, in the grocery store, in line, when you're in traffic, when you're buying coffee. One thing I love is when I pass somebody and I address, hey, how are you? And they most people are not used to that. And they're like, I'm great. How are you? When I'm on the telephone, like if I call in the bank, right, and I need some help, and I don't know this person. She says, hello, this is Jessica. How can I help you? Hey, Jessica, how are you today? I'm Jon. Hope you're having a great day. There's a little pause. She'll go, hey, Jon, I'm having a great day. And she's so used to dealing with pissed off people. I can give her a little respect, a little joy. And that shit spreads like wildfire. If people would just recognize that we can actually be kind to others, and it's a different world we live in.
What's crazy when you said that, Johnny and Flynn, I'm going to bring you up here, is that Johnny said something that we all do throughout our days. And again, the point of this show is to create aha moments for people. I'm hoping somebody heard Jon and they're going, yeah, you know what? I got to make a phone call right now and I'm going to ask the person how they're feeling right now. Kristina, it's those simple things, right? Those simple things, Kristina, that we often get so caught up in. And Evan talked about intention. And I know we're talking cliche and fooey. But man, when Johnny intentionally asks the human on the other side of the phone how they're doing, the power of how Jon's affecting that human, Kristina?
Sorry, Chris, go ahead. So forgive me.
It's bringing humanity into interactions again. It's about we so easily go through our day with this monotony of I just got to get it through the day. I just got to get through. I don't have time to ask anyone how they're doing. I do the same thing, Jon, and I remember my parents always doing the exact same thing. And you're right. There's always a pause. And then there's kind of I don't really know what to do with this. And then there's sometimes a response, but oftentimes it's they also are okay, get to it. Do you even mean this? Are you just saying it? I think the point that Evan raised that really hit with me is that so much of this anger towards someone else is really not towards that person at all. It's towards people in our lives that have hurt us. It's towards the situations that are out of our control that we wish we could control. It's towards all of these things that are triggering us that are always about us. They're not about that person or that individual. I think at this position, in this moment in time, particularly in the US, but in a lot of places in Western countries and in North America, people are unhappy. People are really, really struggling. And I think they're taking it out on other people in an external way versus looking inward and saying, what can I do to control the situation? And what can I do within myself to actually make myself happier, with the hope that those around me will benefit from that as well.
Well, and break this down into, like, let's take that. We're actually giving somebody a little joy, a little kindness. But then the second dimension of that is like in a coffee shop, you're saying hello to the person that's taking your order on the telephone. It's wonderful to make them smile. But what you're also doing is you're giving them a little joy, and it's helping them do their job a little bit better. And guess who they're doing their job for? You. So it's like this positive vortex, I mean, that person on the other end of the telephone probably has the ability to do a lot more for you than they'll let on if they think you're a cocksucker. No, I can't help you do that. Sorry. I'm gonna have to send you you got to go to this other department.
If you've ever worked in one of those call centers, which I know I have, I think Keith has, you have way more power than you're about to.
Yes. But when you're kind to someone, you'd be really surprised at how when you're kind and you're giving them a little smile, giving them a little joy, they want to help you. You have a great experience talking to them. They feel like they had a wonderful experience, a job well done. Everybody wins.
It's interesting because I see a comment here. We're going to get to the end of Jim's segment in a quick second, Jimmy, but I see a comment here from Jack Dugan, and he's saying, so sad that we have to explain that being kind and encouraging to a stranger is okay. You're right, Jack. I don't disagree with you, Jack. But the reality is, it seems to have left parts of society. And I feel like we have to have the conversation because, Johnny, in Canada, we maybe are a little more kinder than our American friends. So just going down the street and saying hi to people is a little more normal. But I hear you, Anderson. I hear you, brother.
I mean, and the thing about it is, it's like, I get so much joy from smiling at someone and saying, hello, how are you? Their reaction, that's what creates the joy.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like, we all have complete control of, we can produce joy for ourselves and others, and it's all works as one. And it's just because it's just, I mean, get right down to it, going back to this whole conversation earlier, we're all human beings. Yes. And if we strip away all the bullshit, what do we want? We want to enjoy our lives. We want to be happy. And we can, if we work just a little bit together, it's pretty fucking easy.
Oh, I love
it. One thing I want to say too, by no means are we saying that this is easy. By no means are we saying that this is going to like change all the hardship that's fucking happening in the world. It's just say hi to your neighbor. But what we are saying is that you can control parts of this, especially in these moments right now where everything feels out of control.
Yeah.
Take your piece of power and control that piece of it, that one little thing, and stick with that, because that's going to be way more powerful than sitting there and bitching and moaning about everything that you're unhappy about.
Yes. And on that level, I so agree, Kristina. The message is not, hey, make somebody smile on the way to work and we're not going to have problems with the shit that we're in with our political world. But what it is saying is, hey, just like we preach on the show, start small and focus on the shit you can control. And funny enough, the shit you can control is actually going to make somebody else happy as well.
What's fun? It's really fun, John. And I alluded to this at the beginning of the show about teaching an old dog new tricks. I've loved embracing the word intention with certain things because it's really fun when you're intentional about things. So John, I'm hearing you say it. When you're intentionally kind to somebody, you have that intentional kindness, and then you get something in response. It feels pretty fucking good, doesn't it, Johnny? You're like, yeah.
And check this out. I got to share this because, I have to go out into the world when I know I'm going to see people. Even when my wife comes out of the bedroom, I have to be intentional about greeting her and you know, doing the things that I do to make her help her understand how I feel about her. But going out in the world, you know, it's almost like we've got these defaults just to kind of put our heads down and just do like this versus you before you step outside, you know what? I'm going to greet and smile at the next person I see, and boom, you get this feeling like, whoa, I want to do that again. And it just, that's how your day starts to unfold. So you can get this ball rolling, you know, just by understanding, being intentional. Like you said, Keith, you do it to the first person you see it. Your brain will give you some chemicals that makes you want to do it again. And next thing you know, you're saying hi to everybody. You're smiling at everybody and you're having a fucking great day.
When I watch it often with Lauren, Kristina, sometimes I got to make guys, it drives me nuts because she's so kind and her personality is so loving. And I love those attributes of her, but sometimes like Lauren, like not everybody wants to say hi to you, but she's like, no, but I do. And I love her enthusiasm because she's so kind, and everybody she talks to, they love her because her kindness, Jon, Kristina, is always coming through with intention. And I don't know how you cannot like that kind of human being. Like, honest to God. You know, it's
so true, brother. And the thing about it is, you know, we're doing it for ourselves.
Yes.
I feel good doing this.
Yeah,
and if the person doesn't want to, if they don't want to respond, they don't want to play ball, no harm, no foul. I get it. I hope you have a better day tomorrow. And if I get another chance to smile at you, I'll do it again. But I'm doing it for me. And it's from the standpoint of I'm not doing this because I'm expecting something in return. I'm doing it because it feels good to share joy. It feels good to be kind. And most people will respond. They don't have a choice. It's a reaction. Sometimes they're a little puzzled at first, but then they'll smile and it's true. Kind of like, whoa. And you can see that you affected them and you feel good for helping them see the sun in their sky. And it's like, it's just this positive vortex. Next thing you know, it's like, fuck, man, this is an amazing day.
Yeah.
You know,
so
you know what I love, Keith? You know what I love? I love picturing Jon walking down the street and Jon's walking, and people think all the things that they think when they look at someone like Jon, right? Yes. And then he's like, hey, how you doing? And they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yes.
And I just can't, that vision is so awesome. I love it.
Well, I'm thinking, Chris, hold on, Johnny. Hold on, Johnny. But I'm thinking, Kristina, it probably as much motivates Jon because, and again, we're talking in front of Jon, right? So Jon's 6'2", 280 pounds. He's he's a successful athlete. And on the outside, you look at the book and you immediately have a judgment. And then all of a sudden, then he opens his mouth, you talk to him, you're like, oh, it's not the cover of the book. And Jon's like, yeah, I've convinced you differently, motherfucker. That's exactly what's going on in his head brain, Kristina. I'm sure.
Here's another one too. We often will hold the door for someone, but do it in fucking silence. You know, it's like you hold the door. How are you today? Whoa. You know, it's like, you know, it's just these little tiny simple gestures that just, and it's just being kind. A smile will provoke something in another person. And I think it's just such a missed part of our lives in our current society.
Morning intentions, morning matters, and morning manners. Tips from Jon Andersen, Kristina Flynn, and Keith Bilous here on Morning Loop Reloaded. Your mornings in Labs with Keith and friends. All right, we're gonna walk Kristina off the stage, and we're gonna hang out. Jon and I are gonna hang out for a couple minutes in the gym. I'm taking the place of Marty for the next few days here this week, where we just make some changes to the schedule. And Johnny and I are going to talk about, I got two things for Johnny here right now, and he's the resident gym expert here. I'm just the guy talking. Johnny, you talk deep cheeks all the time, and I love it because you're talking about building those deep cheeks and the glutes, nice, good glutes. But to do that, you're really going to want to lean into lunges. Let's talk about 3 types of lunges for incredible lower body strength, because right now I'm envisioning the clip that sits after this conversation. Somebody going, I want to build some deep cheeks. I want to build some powerful glutes. Give me 3 lunges that I can work into my program this week that are going to help me accomplish that. Jon Andersen.
Well, I think that, you know, when it comes down to the lunge, first off, a lunge, you have a really difficult time not working your glute in a lunge. But I think what people tend to miss about any style of lunge, because there's walking lunge, you know, there's all different types of lunges, is you have to take a deep enough step, because if you step and the weight is prominently on the ball of your foot or your toes, that's going to engage more of your quad. So what you want to do is when you take that step, you want to basically strike your heel, and you want to make sure as you go down that you can still stay heel heavy. If you stay heel heavy, that's gonna trigger the back of your leg. If your heel comes up, you're gonna feel all that stress go to the front of your leg, which will also fuck your knees up. So when you're doing a walking lunge, what I like to do is I like to kick my foot up and go a really deep step, strike that heel and stretch. I want it to be a big, open, deep step. And you can literally feel that glute engage. And then you got to remember that the epicenter of the power or the motor to this movement is drawing yourself back up. If you're a walking lunge, if that front foot goes out, heel down, you want to kind of leave the back leg alone. It's just kind of dangling behind, You really, what you want is you want to be digging that heel on the front foot, engaging that glute to pull yourself forward. Don't push yourself up from the back, because now you're engaging the quad again. So I think what's more important, rather than talking about different styles of lunges, is to understand the concept.
Oh, I like that, Johnny, because I've been lifting my whole life and I've been doing squats and lunges. And as you're talking, I'm literally I'm describing to people listening right now. I'm just moving my legs around, and I hear what you're saying, and I
feel it.
I will intentionally reflect on the fact that I've been doing some of my lunges wrong, because I've been hitting
never been taught how to lunge properly.
I've been hitting my quads, but the magic of anchoring in the heel, I automatically went to my glute. I can feel it right now with you on the call here. I can feel it. I anchor my heel, I move forward, and automatically it goes right to my glute, not on my quad.
Well, people say, goodness, especially on a reverse, where you're standing still and backwards, right? People say, my toes hurt. Well, it's because you're fucking pushing off from that back foot. Yeah. You don't want to push off your toes. That's why your toes hurt, because you're fucking digging on them. You're just supposed to touch that thing down, then basically dig the leg that's still when you're, how would I say it? So when you kick your left leg back, right, you want to basically dig your right heel into the ground to draw yourself back up. Don't push off that back leg, because if your toes are hurting, Nation, you got to watch this, man, and try it, because I get it, Johnny, because I'm stepping back. I've been fucking doing it wrong for so long. So step back and push off your back feet and feel the fucking strain in your toes.
I can. That's what I'm saying.
Now do it again. And don't think about the back foot. Dig that front heel in. You barely toes at all.
Yes. Man.
So if you're having toe trouble in your lunge, that's because you're focused on basically pushing off from behind you. And it's not a push off behind you movement. It's a draw yourself forward movement, if it's a reverse or a walking. Now, if it's a standing where you're stepping forward, this is actually an easier one for people to get down, because you step forward, all you're going to do is dig in that heel and push yourself back. Because you're not going to push off your back foot, because you're trying to return to where you started. That makes sense?
I'm rocking here because I'm listening to you, and I'm trying it myself. Changing. So again, the power of intention, right? Intentionally concentrating on the heel, and then
here's a tip.
Yeah.
Take all of the shit that we just talked about and melt it into something that's kind of universal amongst all of the different style lunges.
Yes.
Is you have to make sure that your heel is always down, and you have to make sure that you're putting pressure on the heel. As soon as the pressure goes from your heel to the front of your foot, your toe, your ball of your foot, you've basically shifted a bunch of the load into the quad. Now the quad's going to work no matter what.
Yes.
The glute's going to work no matter what. The question is where basically what percentage. If you're doing a lunge properly, you should be probably close to 70%, maybe 75% on the back of the leg and the glute. If you're doing it wrong, that shifts the other way. A lot of times people say, I don't feel my glutes. Well, no shit, because your heel's up in the air the whole goddamn time.
Yeah. Well, and this probably also emphasizes, Johnny, as we wrap the segment up, this probably emphasizes that if you're doing it with intention and proper form, you don't need the heaviest weights, do you?
No. No, because when you're I mean, when you literally keep the heel down and the pressure is in that glute, and you're actually literally thinking about contracting that glute for the movement, it's a completely different deal. Now, if you don't understand what we're talking about, and you're basically just harnessing every muscle that the body will harness to try to get back to your starting point, then you're really not focused on the glute or the deep cheeks, because that's what this is all about. Yeah, you're gonna feel like, God, I don't feel my glutes, so I better put some more weight on there. No, dipshit, just learn to do it right.
Well, that's what I've learned in this segment with you. And I again, I wanted to take it here because I'm the everyman. I've been doing this thing in the gym for years, and I've learned something from you. And what I've learned from this whole thing, most importantly, is form, intention, and it doesn't have to be heavy weight. But then the last point, Johnny, which you always talk about with our audience, is that you don't need the gym. The power of the body move, the power of the body weight, right? So just doing walking lunges, front or back, with proper form and technique, powerful, isn't it, John?
Dude, I mean, go to a park, go to a beach, and do walking lunges. It's fucking fun, man.
Yes,
it's fun. One more caveat: if that heel is down and your toe is up, if you really want to be safe, keep your toes up in the air, which is a little goofy to balance at first, but then that's going to help you understand what the heel down feels like. Because a lot of times when I think my heel's down, we'll pull your toes up in the air. If you step into that position, pull your toes in the air, finish the movement, you're going to feel that you're going to understand the load in the heel, and that's what you're looking for.
Dude, that's fucking gold, man. I just, again, Zeglin, buddy, you've been training me for years. You missed this one, man. You missed it. So, Johnny, we're going to have to tease AJ tomorrow on the show here, because AJ has been training me for years, but we missed this lunging part because AJ did it. He had us doing lunges left and right. And when I climbed Kilimanjaro, I was doing lunges left and right. But I admittedly, Johnny was probably focusing too much on the quad. And now that you've taught me, I'm really going to emphasize on my legs day tomorrow: toe up, heels down, less weight, more on form.
This toe up thing in the heel down converts into a squat to keep your knees from getting fucked up. Most people at the bottom, their heels come up, too much weight goes into the quad, which goes right to that patella tendon in the front of the knee. People are like, squats hurt my knees. Well, no shit, you're doing it wrong. If you literally, when I teach people to squat, kick your shoes off, pull your toes in the air, squat now. Don't let those toes touch down. All I tell you is toes in the air, shoes off, toes in the air, right?
Yes.
And I want you to do a squat, but I don't want you to think about bending your knees. First movement is send your butt back. Your knees will bend as a positive side effect.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, that feels a lot different. Yes, it does.
I enjoy squatting without shoes or flat shoes, or in the past those Vibrams, those shoes that have like the toes in them, like where you can really focus on keeping flat feet. I thoroughly enjoy that, man, because I get good form. I focus on my heels because I'm correct, right? Focusing down and letting my
here's the thing. Most people
right?
think they're focusing on their heels until they do it with their toes up. Then they're holy shit, I wasn't focused on my heels enough.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We're going to keep the chat going in the gym with Jon and Keith here this week. We're going to bring Marty in as well here along the way. But Johnny, some things I want to talk about with you is how we use mirrors. We as guys are scared of the mirror. Maybe there's ways we can use the mirror to motivate, inspire, and help us. Let's talk about that this week. And I also want to talk about burpees. I know you're a big fan of burpees, but burpees might be the number one fat burning exercise we as human beings could be. Hey, Johnny?
You know why they're great? Because nobody wants to do them.
Yeah. Yes.
And doing something you don't want to do, starting off your day doing anything you don't want to do, even if it's just 10, you're off to the races. So then we'll take a page from Evan Marks before we walk in Kristina. And I know you got to rock and roll here, Johnny. Start your day with a cold shower for 3 minutes as per Evan Marks, and then move to John's favorite burpees, and then come back and talk to Keith and Jon, see how you're feeling, because you're probably feeling pretty good. Hey, Johnny? Cold shower to burpees, right? That's it. The burpees will warm you back up after the cold shower.
That's it. All right, in the gym with Jon and Marty. Standing in for Marty is Keith Bilous here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Johnny's going to rock and roll out of here, and we're going to bring Kristina up here. We're going to go to Community Corner. But before we go, Johnny, quickly, highlight from today's show for you.
I thought Evan was a rock star, man.
He was a rock star.
Talking my language, baby. It was good shit. So it's just so nice, as I talk in a certain way about the brain and neurotransmitter, and it's like it's so nice to have somebody else come on and do the same thing, because it's like sometimes I feel like the Lone Ranger because people don't understand how powerful this shit is. I'll keep preaching my thing, but it's just so nice to have other people come and join the party. And it's because the power of the mind is far more powerful than anything else we have.
Yes. All right, Johnny, I know you got a big day happening in California there. You get after it, my friend, and we'll knock on your door later today. Say hi.
I'm going to the golf course, baby. We're doing content on the golf course today. Come on.
And Flynn, I know how that looks. I'm envisioning how it looks. A cigar, some golf gear. Johnny's gonna look jacked.
I got some hamburgers in a fucking Ziploc sack. As soon as I whipped that out. Well, you saw the last time I was golfing. I whipped out. Yes. I got a cigar here, and I whip out a burger. And I got my phone, and there the fucking videographer was all over that. He was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" He's like, "Dude, you're a gangster." I said, "You can call me whatever you want, but I'm gonna do over here do my thing."
You're a gangster. Johnny Andersen, the gangster. You get after Johnny. Always appreciate you, brother. You have yourself a great day on the golf course. We'll catch up with you later. And of course, we'll see you in the morning. All right?
Absolutely, guys. See you in the morning.
All right. Okay. Johnny's out of here, and Keith, Kristina are left here in Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. We're going to pivot to our community corner segment, Jimmy. And today we are going to feature an accomplished comedy writer, Kristina. Comedy writer and speaker, and this creator has written for some of the most iconic shows, not including Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. No. Earning 7 Emmy Awards along the way. Maybe we can win an Emmy for this show. Maybe somebody along the way will want an Emmy for an Emmy, or maybe or maybe we can go for a Grammy. I can start singing.
No.
And we could get a Grammy.
No, not if that's your voice.
This creator is also a master of human and business. And Jimmy, we need to keep the singing part when we cut the creator spotlight for the creator we're going to celebrate, so that when it goes across all the platforms, we want to keep singing. Voice for the Grammys. And then this human also has a deep understanding of connection. Oh yeah. This human who we're celebrating uses humor to help professionals build trust and create meaningful business relationships. She's an advocate for authentic communication, which is good. And she is also a comedian and a speaker. Awesome. We might have to have her on the show so you guys can actually have a comedian on the show and actually have a speaker on the show who's not me. She shows leaders how to harness the power of laughter to improve communication engagement. So today's creator spotlight is somebody who we are going to celebrate. I'm going to move my attention to this camera over here. Today's spotlight for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is Beth Sherman.
Hey,
Beth. Hey. Apparently you're funny. Yeah. So we want to have you on the show because I'm not funny, apparently. So if you want to be funny, we want to have you on the show. She's about laughter connects, harness the power of humor to create and nurture business relationships, speaker, comedian, Emmy winning comedy writer, an American in London. Kristina Flynn, why are we celebrating Beth Sherman from London, as Marty would say, London, England?
I fucking love Beth. When I came across Beth, immediately I was like, I love this woman. She is just real. And she is like, she doesn't hold back. What I love most about her is that, yes, like 7 Emmys. She's written for Letterman, Leno, Ellen. She's been and was on the road as a comedian herself for many, many, many years. And she's taking that very unique expertise and skill that she has that not many people, particularly in the LinkedIn world, have. And she's saying, hey, there's real value for this. Not just if you want to just get up on stage and do stand-up. No, aside from that, there's a way for you to integrate humor and authenticity to connect more with your audience. And I'm going to actually teach you. So if you love humor and if you love comedy, this is the dope part about Beth. She breaks it down for you on how you can actually do this. So I geek out because I get to learn the insides of comedy from someone who's done it for many people and herself. And then I'm able to take those learnings and those insights and apply it to my own life and my own connection with folks. It's a huge, huge value that she's offering people. It's just that simple. If you could sit down with a writer who wrote for Ellen and Leno and Letterman and has done it herself for years, and she was going to teach you how to use humor so that you can connect to an audience just like she and every comedian has to do. That's the opportunity that you're getting by following Beth. She said it best to me herself when she said, there's nobody better in the world at connecting with someone or connecting with an audience in a matter of seconds than a comedian, because people are sitting there and they're expecting you to be funny, and you have to immediately do it, right, or they're going to shit talk you, or they're going to tune out, whatever it is. So she's got this ridiculous skill and she's bringing it to LinkedIn. So I love watching her and I love learning from her.
That's true, eh? You go to some place, people are expecting you to make them laugh. And if you don't make them laugh, they're instantly pissed off. Like there's no gray. It's just black and white. It's like, oh, that's not funny.
It's just a ridiculous concept, because like nobody expects anybody else and their profession to show up as their profession. So like you're not an actuary and you walk in the room and everyone's like, well, what's the risk factor here? Tell me about it. Like there's no other profession in the world that does that. But comedians, all of a sudden, it's like, well, you're funny. You should be funny. It's like
make
they're
me laugh.
Performing. Shut up. Yeah. Make me laugh. That's your job in the world, to make me laugh.
So Beth Sherman, we want you to come on the show with us. And hey, you're in London there, so it's the middle of the day there for you. We fuck, Jon Andersen got to get up in the middle of the night. So you could get up in the middle of your day, Kristina, and Beth can come hang out with us, and she could make us laugh. Maybe she could teach Keith some humor. Maybe she could write some jokes for Keith. So Beth, if you know somebody in your corner, what's that, Kristina?
I'm gonna say this, Beth. If you want to come on the show, you don't fucking have to make anyone laugh. I would love to just learn more about what you do and give you a platform if that's of interest to you. We can't just say exactly what we said people do to her, Keith.
Beth, come on the show.
That's fucked up that people do that. Be funny for me.
It's funny because I learned that from our friend Jeff Hatton. Remember when Jeff came on the show? I was like, okay, Jeff, make me laugh. And I love Jeff. Jeff is funny as a fuck. Jeff is, if you guys know Jeff is, you got to go find Jeff on LinkedIn. He makes funny fucking content nonstop. But you're right, Kristina. When you put somebody, it's like, okay, that's the comedian. Make me laugh.
And a lot of people say that about comedians, that off stage, off camera, whatever it is, they are some of the most serious people in the world. Because in order to be able to put together the jokes like they do, one, they have to have this skill in this craft that they've perfected for decades. And two, they just look at the world differently than you and I.
Yes.
They just do. And so in order to have that skill and that talent, you're getting on stage and you're performing. You're not walking around all the time being that exact same person. So Beth, if you want to join us, that would be lovely. We'd love to give you this platform for anything that you like. And if you want to be just serious and you don't want to fucking be funny at all, great. That's awesome too. We'd still love to have you.
There you have it, Beth. So come on the show. Don't be funny. Yeah, no, actually, that's just it, Kristina. Beth, you are invited to our show, but you can't be funny. Nope. You got to be fucking boring.
Stop being so prescriptive.
You got to be just boring. You got to come here and just be boring and monotone, just like my little teaser video to folks. All right, Beth. Hey, we are celebrating you, Beth Sherman, with the Community Corner Creator Spotlight. Jimmy, we're keeping all that for our segment later for Beth. We would love to have you on the show, Beth. Come hang out with us and celebrate somebody in your orbit for the Creator Spotlight here, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. All right, so listen, Keith and Kristina are going to continue the show for a number more minutes before we wrap it up. We get the business and branding segment. And Kristina, I'm calling a complete audible right now in front of you.
I fucking knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to do this. You have something against this segment that I have set up. You do not want to talk about Business Foundation. So please, Keith, you tell me what you want to chat about.
So we are going to talk Business Foundation, but I thought we would talk about the League of Business Athletes. I thought we could maybe talk about the League of Business Athletes. I thought that we could be telling about what's kind of happening here in the league and what's kind of rolling out here. And the funny thing is that in many ways, Nation, it does very much segue to what Kristina is proposing we talk about, which we will get to this week, which is the foundation, what your business is probably missing. Because listen, without the foundation, your business is just quicksand. It's just kind of fucking rolling all over the place. But to start somewhere and to learn that, maybe you want to hang out with us in the league. So last week, we quietly unveiled the League of Business Athletes. It's a 100-day transformation program. You, Nation, will have a chance to hang out, invited, to work with, myself, Jon Andersen, Christopher Martin, aka CMartyFit, Kristina Flynn, George Anzen, AJ Zeglin, and Adam House, all in one environment. Traditionally, most coaching programs, Kristina, you go work with either Evan, or you go work with John, or you go work with Kristina. And traditional coaching programs are, I want to go fix my mental mindset, or I want to go and lose weight, or I want to go and get stronger. So what I believe in the Business Athlete Performance Lab, and Kristina, and what got my shit together, what helped me get through my tough times in life, going through divorce, climbing mountains, moving life forward, was stepping back and going, I don't just need one coach. I need a lot of fucking people. So I learned about nutrition. I learned about athletics. I learned about business, and I learned about all these principles, mental toughness, and I created the business athlete mindset. And that helped me, Kristina, get through my shit. So what I've put together along with yourself and our wonderful team here is what we're calling the League of Business Athletes, League 100. It's a 100-day transformational experience. You might be waking up one day. You might be waking up, mister, right now. You're going, holy fuck, I'm 46. Kristina, I was there. You're looking around, you're going, yeah, I got money in my bank account, but I'm feeling pretty shitty. I kind of lost purpose. I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. My career is kind of like, yeah, my career is great. I collect the paycheck every 2 weeks. But Kristina, I'm like, there's so much more for me. So what we're inviting you to do is to come work with us, mister. Come work with Kristina and build that personal brand. I know you. You're going, holy fuck, man, I got a resume. Kristina, how many guys come to you in the personal branding space and they're embarrassed to say that, yeah, Kristina, I haven't updated my resume in 30 years. How many, Kristina? Right? It's common, isn't it?
All the time.
Right?
Well, and they haven't had to. Like,
right.
Like, why would you? You've been in the same company or the same industry. A lot of the job searching that you've done has been through your network. You did all the right things. That's not the way it was supposed to be.
Yes.
Things have changed, though.
And then what also happened, Kristina, right? Because again, Kristina, I am this dude. It's 20 years ago, I woke up in my career. I'm becoming an expert in Google search. And I'm becoming an expert in all these tools that we take for granted today. Google and Microsoft and all these fucking tools. And then about 18 months ago, 24 months ago, this chat GPT, this AI stuff comes out. And now there's these guys that are all in their 40s and 50s going, what, Kristina? Holy fuck, I got to go learn that now?
You got to start again.
I got to start again. I'm going to lose my job because that 20-year-old or 30-year-old is going to know it before I do. Actually, no, you don't. Come join the league. Myself, Kristina, we're going to teach you AI. We're going to teach you all the skills you need to learn how to up level yourself to succeed in today's business world. You'll become an expert in Claude. You become an expert in Chat GPT. And maybe not a 10 out of 10 expert, but strong enough where you can go to work, Kristina, and go to work and provide value and not walk into a meeting with all your colleagues looking like the guy who's like, yeah, fuck, I don't know what I'm talking about. Kristina, talk about that, because we know there's guys going, oh my God, do I have to go learn that? Can I just pretend to hide for the next 10 years of my life and this is going to go away? It's not going away. It's not going away.
It's not going away. And can you stick your head in the sand? Yes, you absolutely can. You probably did it with social media because you were like, fuck this. I don't want to learn something new. But you then are no different than the generation before you, your parents before that were like, I'm not using a credit card on the internet. I'm not giving them my information like that. And I guarantee you looked at them like,
yes,
fuck off. Like, this is not that big of a deal. But now all of a sudden you're cool. You're set in your ways. And I get it. But if this is resonating with you, it's because you're not that happy. And this is one area that we're saying, listen, you have ridiculous skills, very, very great skills, 30 years of experience, 20 years, whatever it is. So why not make the most out of those skills that you have as you're looking to transition into a new role, a new industry, a new company, whatever it is, start your own thing. As you're looking to do this, why not make the most out of those skills with the tools and the technology that's available to you? Right now, the biggest one is AI.
Yeah.
So why ignore it? If you were completely happy, you wouldn't be fucking listening to us anyways.
Kristina, I believe guys like me and Evan Marks, with all respect to my younger 30, 40-year-old friends, I think guys like Evan Marks and myself have an edge. Because if we can learn the modern technologies, but then bring our silver hairs to the front and all that experience we've gained, all that experience tied to today's technologies, man, you're like, holy shit, I want to go learn from Keith or Evan and learn all the 30, 40 years of shit that he's failed at or learned at. Plus the guy knows how to use Claude and Chat GPT. Gentlemen, those are skills. Like what we're saying to you is that those gray hairs are value, man. They are value in 2024. They're value in 2025. They're not something you should be embarrassed about. They're something you should lean into, right? And then we can take the AI tools we're playing with in the marketplace and bring more value to you. So I invite you to listen to what I'm going to say next. You're going to join the league. We're going to make you, and here's what might happen, Kristina. Here's what might happen if somebody joins the league. They might look in the mirror and feel better about themselves. They might lose weight. They might gain muscle. They might become more confident. They might gain some skills they don't have yesterday. They might learn some ideas around intention. Their relationship with their family, their spouse, their colleagues might get better, right? So you're gonna work with AJ on mental mindset. You're gonna work with Jory on food, talking about ketosis and ketones and glucose and learning. And again, maybe things that you've learned, Nation, over your 30, 40 years of your life, but you're like, I'm fucking kind of a little squirrely and I wanna age gracefully. Kristina, I'm there, man. I'm 52. I'm trying to age gracefully every single day with my food choices. You're gonna learn that from Jory. You're going to work with Jon on good habit stacking, work with Marty on physical strength, work with Kristina on building your personal brand, and then work with myself and Adam on leadership and business. So gentlemen, if you are looking for a full experience to change your life, the League of Business Athletes is for you. It's a 100-day program, but when the 100 days is up, Christine, you don't leave. No, you're part of the league forever. You're part of the league. We only got 10 spots available in a brotherhood. And our plan is to launch brotherhoods throughout the year. So Kristina, you also might connect with people like Evan Marks. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind having Evan Marks in my network, or a guy like Adam House or Jon Andersen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or Kristina Flynn or Christopher Martin. Like, connect. And you might even get a chance to be on the show over and over. And you might have an accountability partner. So I'm just saying, you join the league, you start your day every single day with intention. You got partners in life to help you achieve your big, audacious goals. What am I missing, Kristina? There's lots going on here that people just don't know what's hitting them with. It's a pretty substantial program.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, oftentimes some of the first conversations that I have with my clients when we sit down and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why did you reach out to me? What's happening? Yeah. And a lot of times the conversation is, I'm fucking looking at these people out here on LinkedIn. These people claiming to be experts, these people that I know don't have nearly what I have in terms of experience and intel. And they're pissed. They're like, who the fuck is this person? Because that's like our ego's response, right? Like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you out here doing this and doing that? And my response is always, they say, how the fuck did they get that? How the fuck did they get that role? How the fuck did they get this? Working with Nike, working with it. You want to know how they fucking did it? They got to know and understand themselves and their story, and they built a personal brand around it. And all of that stuff combined with feeling better about yourself, getting over those like limiting beliefs that we all have, figuring your shit out about what's next, your body, your brain, your mind, your spirit, all of that stuff that we all need to perform at the highest level. Those are what those people that you're judging online are doing. And they're going to continue to do because they see an opportunity that you don't. So either you take advantage of it or continue to watch people that have less experience, less knowledge, less insights to offer than you do, get the opportunities that you think you should be getting.
Yes. And Kristina, in my closing comments before we say goodbye to Business Athlete Nation, I'm going to leave this with you guys. I was reflecting upon this before I walked into my semi-cold shower this morning, Kristina. It wasn't fully cold. I feel like I'm
not fully cold. I can't breathe.
I'm anticipating that there's probably going to be a moment where I'm going to be having a cold shower here soon because I'm getting on this show every single day talking about the power of it. And I don't know how I can't be hypocritical. So Evan, you fucker, man, you're actually convincing me to walk into the cold shower here. But my point, Kristina, is this. And here's the most important part of what I'm going to tell everybody right now. We are not selling you a brand new system. Nope, no system. You hear us talk about this every single day on the show. The magic with the League 100 is two things. Starting your day first thing in the morning with us. And secondly, having an accountability partner called Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, with Kristina and Jon and Marty and Keith and AJ and Jory and Adam, all in your corner. That's it. There's no magic rocket science. There's no magic recipe. There's no, here's the formula of what you have to do. No, you're not a child. You're not a child. We're not bringing children to the program. We're bringing men who want to succeed, but need some help with accountability and need just help staying on course. So no, you're not coming here and getting a brand new, the miraculous system from Keith and Jon. No, we're going to give you things to think about. We're going to teach you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Most coaches will tell you what to do. And then Kristina, when the program's done, what happens? They fail because the coach is no longer telling them what to do. So what we're going to do is say, hey, we'll see you tomorrow at 6. 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 You want to be at 5? Be at 5. And I believe that if you keep doing it every single day and you show up with intention, the 100 days are going to be magical, but then the remaining 265 days of your year are going to be even more magical. And then Kristina, the rest of your life is going to be magical for one reason only. We've helped you build sustainable habits for a lifetime. How do I know this, Kristina? Because I went through it. That's it. That's it.
I'm going through it right now.
There you go. Awesome. Nation, I love you guys for tuning in today. We're going to wrap up the show, Jimmy. What a great show today. Evan Marks brought some nuggets. His energy, I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep up to that, but I'm glad that we had Evan here, and we're going to bring Evan back. Evan's clearly a business athlete. Jory dropped nuggets, and I loved your topic that you had on the table today regarding how we teach our children food, and I want to get into that perhaps next week. I just knew when she dropped the ketosis topic last week, and again, I always put myself in the shoes of our audience. I've been there, and I'm like, okay, I want to go with the ketosis. Well, fuck it. It doesn't happen after 2 days.
Sounds so easy until it doesn't, and the way that she was describing it, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
This is not like a podcast description I've heard before.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is not that simple. Okay.
No.
And it makes sense, obviously, but still.
Yes. So I'd encourage you guys to check that segment with George Jansen, the protein break. We talked ketosis. And then, of course, we spent a lot of time today talking about one thing, Kristina, kindness and humanity, and not judging somebody based on policy. Judge somebody based on who they are as a human being, because there's a very distinct difference. So as you're going through your day this week, nation, as you're going through your week this week, nation, I invite you just to always lead with humanity and kindness. And man, I know it's cliche, but there's a reason we use cliches, because they're true. Mm-hmm. Kristina, let's get out of here. Let's have a good day. Let's go tackle it. Monday in the week, Monday at the Loop, November 4th. Nation, thanks for joining us today. Good time. Alex, John Dugan, Jack Dugan. Jack, I love having you here, man. And again, I invite anybody who's considering applying for the League of Business Athletes program, League 100. We have it running. It's bappel.ai/will you qualify. You got to qualify for the program. We're not just taking anybody with a credit card. True story. All right, let's get out of here. Jimmy, let's go to work. Kristina, let's go to work. Have a good day, guys. We'll see you later.